So like I was saying, I'm planning on being in Ukraine for a while. I'm looking to see what happens with lockdowns, because it appears that COVID cases and mortality rates are going up in Europe. So I want to stay somewhere with a relative amount of freedom, and Ukraine is ordinarily good for that. So I could be there for some months. All right, we got some big building over there. Could be a gallery, not sure. Something being renovated here. And down there, it looks like we've got some big church. Let's go and have a look. Oh, and what have we got here? Hashtag abandoned, hashtag Soviet. Looks like some old cinema, and it didn't close that long ago, because look, we've got Pirates of the Caribbean playing. Well, that was maybe 15 years ago, not quite sure. Garfield, and Avatar is the guy on the left from Avatar, not sure. Wow. Don't think I'll be able to see through these filthy windows. Nothing there. It looks like it's locked up pretty tight. You can't get inside. If you want to find this place, then here's the address. Big old place. And here we go. Here's the church I spotted. We can see the construction date there, 1913, so just prior to the First World War. Very beautiful. I really just stumbled upon that cinema back there, so just in case you thought I was pretending, it just shows you, if you just go for a walk and you don't have some particular plan, sometimes you can see something interesting. Let's have a closer look and see if there's some clues as to what this building is. Got a very nondescript door, no sign, an intercom. Oh. Lots of doors. That one inside is locked. I don't think we'll be able to go inside. Okay, we've got a small sign outside here. Sudnaya Kazna. And at the top there, Pamyatnik Architekturov. Something to do with architecture. Another nice looking grand building on the other side of the road there. Really is a beautiful city, Moscow. Oh, look at that. Looks like maybe a van for prisoners, I'm not sure. Oh, I see something moving inside. Really got no idea what's in there. Not a place you want to be if it is a prisoner van. Ah, it's animals, horses. I thought there was people inside there. Keep on walking. Tall Travels mystery tour around Moscow. Oh, Jesus Christ. Freezing my ass off. No idea what that could be. Some musical. Okay, we've got a signpost here. Stanislav Electro Theatre, Young Generation Theatre, Moscow Drama Theatre. So many theatres spoilt for choice in Moscow. Monument to Pushkin. Chekhov's house. 4-minute walk to Chekhov's house. Okay, let's walk in this direction for 4 minutes to Chekhov's house. Wow, look at that amazing building over there. Looks like something out of a Batman film. The Russian and the EU flag flying there side by side. Something you don't see every day. So one thing you have to be very careful of in Russia at this time of the year is falling ice. So you can see we got a lot here. And if that hits you, you're going to know about it. In Moscow they put a lot of salt down on the pavements in the center. Unlike Novosibirsk, where there's nothing at all. So the big building is actually the Sberbank building, which is the main bank in Russia. That building over the road there with the green roofs, it reminds me of the Hotel Moscow in Belgrade, Serbia a bit. I don't know whether to go this way or that way, but the wind is cold and it's blowing from this way, so I'm going to go that way. So I forgot about looking for Chekhov's house. I do it on the way back, but I've just seen something that could be interesting. Looks like a church in the distance there. Strange color. Red church. Let's go and have a closer look. I've given a lot of thought as to which is my favorite city in Russia. I mean, I've been to St. Petersburg, Moscow, Novosibirsk, Krasnodar, Sochi, Kazan, Samara. But I have to say my favorite city in Russia is Moscow, because not only is it beautiful, but it's also just very grand as well. So I think I could live in this city in the future. There we have it, some old and destroyed looking church. Very interesting to see it poking out of all this more modern architecture. Gonna try and get closer. My eyeballs feel like they're gonna freeze. I got a big booger hanging off my nose. And we got abandoned religious building here. At least I think it's abandoned. Either that or they don't like cleaning the windows. Let's have a peek through the window. Well, some kind of meeting room. There we go. Big old red church. No idea what it could be. I'm going to have a look on the map on my phone and see if there's any clues. So I'll tell you something for nothing, watch out in Russia when it's very cold with using your mobile phone, because it can quickly, the cold can quickly drain your battery. My phone has gone from having about 30-40% to 2%. So yeah, this building's going to remain a mystery, I'm afraid. So here they're building some kind of wooden house, which is very unusual for the center of Moscow. Maybe it's related to this church and religious buildings. I'm going to extend my selfie pole so you can have a good look. Anything interesting? No? Right, so I can't say anything particularly interesting in that direction. And I'm getting peckish, so I'm going to double back. Now, I'll tell you one thing about Moscow is that wherever you go, there seems to be a lot of police, security guards, security cameras. It just put you on edge a little bit. Going back to my plans for this year, like I said, I'm going to be spending quite a reasonable amount of time in Ukraine, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on the situation with regard to other countries and their lockdowns and mandatory vaccinations and all this kind of stuff. I would like to go to some countries outside of Eastern Europe. I was considering Mexico, but I think in Mexico at the moment you have to wear a mask everywhere you go, so that would be quite annoying. And also come autumn time this year, I'd like to go to some Asian countries. I've been to a lot of Southeast Asian countries: Thailand, Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia. But I haven't been to India. India's definitely up for consideration. Sri Lanka, I would like to go there. I think you can go to Sri Lanka at the moment, but the rules are that you have to stay in quarantine-approved hotels, and you're allowed to travel around the country, but it has to be on organized tours, and you're not allowed to mix with the locals. So that doesn't sound too much fun. All right, interesting. We've got some fucked up old bikes here. Wow, they kind of look half fucked up and half quite modern. But filthy looking things. I think they're electric. They got some battery pack in there. At least some of them electric, not all of them. Another example of what you might find when you go for a random walk sometime. I just spotted across the road the communist flag flying. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's a protest. This seeing what this building is will give me some clues, I think. Yeah, well, not many people if it's a protest. Soviet Federal, some Soviet building. Poor bloke. Communist protest, and it's only him. Здравствуйте. Спасибо. Да. I didn't understand a word he said. I just took his communist literature. So Moscow, of course, is the biggest city in Europe, unless you count Istanbul, which most people don't. And Moscow, it would take you so long to explore this city. There's hidden secrets everywhere you go. So down another fancy part of Moscow. Got Prada here. Louis Vuitton over there. Haven't been down this way before. Chanel. Actually, this could be the fancy street that I've always seen near my hotel, but I've never been down. It's not the kind of street where you want to take your girlfriend or your wife, because it's just asking for trouble. Yeah, so very quiet street. A lot of the shops have closed down there. The more expensive ones will probably never close down. Yeah, I mean, these expensive stores are probably thriving in these times because the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Coming up to my favorite old hotel in Moscow, the Hotel Budapest. Apparently it's a 4-star hotel, but that's a stretch of the imagination. But for about £27 a night, you can't go wrong. No breakfast included in the price, unfortunately. But when you've seen the breakfast, it's probably a blessing in disguise. So I wanted to say something about the taxis in Moscow. They're extremely cheap by European standards. For example, I just came here to the gym, 3.5 kilometers at lunchtime, and I paid 250 rubles, which is very cheap for a major city like Moscow. Basically, it doesn't take much to be a taxi driver in Russia. You just need a car and a smartphone, and that's about it. There's not many checks or anything. Many of the drivers are from the Caucasus countries, immigrants from the Caucasus. Right, everybody, that's me done at the gym. If you ever need a cheap gym where you can just turn up and pay, then Sunny Gym is a good place. 500 rubles. Right, everybody, I thought I'd show you the state of the rivers in Moscow at the moment. As you can see, they're mostly frozen. Let's have a closer look. It's a bit, I'm not sure. You know what? I was going to go down these steps, but they're totally iced and I got problems with my back, so I'm just not going to risk it. There we go, everybody. I thought I'd show you the state of the rivers in Moscow at the moment. As you can see, they're mostly frozen. There's an unfrozen part in the middle. Maybe some boats have been going through there occasionally, I'm not sure. But I don't fancy walking on there. You can see a lot of cracks. magnificent building there. Not sure what it is exactly, but looks really cool. Right, I believe that is a famous tower in Moscow, and it has an observation deck on the top, and you can go up there, but it might be closed due to COVID. A lot of such towers around the world are closed now, but there's only one way to find out, so let's go and have a look. So if you're coming to Russia, I would advise not to use Google Maps because it's absolutely rubbish in this country. You've got two other apps to use. One's called 2GIS, number 2, then GIS, and another one's maps.me. So most of the Russians use these maps and they're much better than Google. So yeah, I have no idea what the name of this tower is because I can't find it on the map. And I can't check what this building is on 2GIS because I haven't downloaded the map for Moscow yet. So a quick update on the state of my health. After 1 year I still have this problem with herniated discs and nerve pain. I've been a bit stupid, to be honest. I've continued to go to the gym despite the doctor's advice, but now I switched to lighter weights and it seems to be making a difference. So these last few days it's been not too bad. And an update on my COVID injury. I still haven't recovered my full sense of smell since last July, so I don't know, it's not such a big deal. My back's been much more of a problem, so if it comes back, it comes back. What can I do? I'm not thinking about it that much. So apparently that tower belongs to Swiss Hotel, so I'm not sure I can just go up there. Maybe there's some oligarchs in the presidential suite. Okay, so I think I'm in something like the financial district here. When I first came to Moscow, I was staying at a place just down the road here, so I remember it. Over there we've got Pavlevsky Vokzal, one of the main train stations in Moscow. So if you're coming to Moscow and you're looking for cheap eats, then these are two of the best. You've got Shokoladnitsa, which is a coffee chain, but they also serve food. The coffee is pretty cheap and it's very strong, just how I like it. And they do a lasagna in there that's pretty tasty as well. And next to it you got Prime Cafe. Now these are all around Moscow, and it's one of the few places you can buy Western style sandwiches. So it's very much like Greg's or something like that in the UK. Actually, it's one of the few places in the whole Soviet Union I've been to that sells sandwiches. So let's go and have a look inside. I'm peckish after the gym. Здравствуйте. Это курица?
Да.
Okay, спасибо. There we go, chicken sandwich for 219 rubles, not bad. Actually, it's 109 rubles. Nice, good. $320 rubles.
С собой здесь он?
Yes, the Americano без молока.
Американо без молока. Да. Один чмаску? Американо большой сделать?
Маленький.
Маленький, 0,2, да?
Yeah.
И сэндвич чикен сорта.
It's your fault.
527 рублей.
Okay.
Дэн, дай чикен сорта.
Alright everybody, my trip to the sandwich shop there was a complete disaster. The sandwich fell out of the packet when I picked it up and all down my jacket. So tomorrow on the plane to Lviv I'm going to look like a right slob. Right, the Tall Travels mystery tour of Moscow continues. I've got no idea where I'm going, but hopefully in the direction of my hotel. A lot of snow and ice piled up here. That'll take a long time to melt. Over there we've got another red church. So it seemed like red bricks used to be very popular in Moscow. Now, for some of you that are thinking about visiting Russia, you might have heard bad press about the country and be under the impression that it's a wild and dangerous place. Well, it might have been about 30 years ago or something like that, but I have to say, in the year 2021, apart from COVID, it's very, very normal and safe. I mean, I would go as far as to say this is one of the safest countries I've ever been to. Now, another thing you might think about when it comes to Russia is alcohol. you're probably under the impression there's people walking down the streets with bottles in their hands, drunk as hell, ready to fight you. But really, from what I've seen on my last couple of trips, it's far from the truth. Because I haven't seen any craziness, haven't really seen any drunken behavior, no fights, nothing. It's just very, very safe. Much safer than England, I can tell you that for nothing. Of course, if you may be going to some sketchy neighborhoods at night on the periphery of the cities, then it could get a bit dodgy, but you're unlikely to be going to these places as a tourist. That's interesting, look. An old style wooden house right in the middle of the city. And you've got some kind of wooden tower over here. I wonder what this is all about. Okay, it's some kind of religious building. There's a big bell there as well. Oh, it was built in 1465. Well, that exact one wasn't built in 1465, but there was something on this site then. You see, if you come down some of the side streets, even in the center of the city, it can become very quiet. Just hear the birds tweeting. Alright, so to kill some time while I'm in quite boring part of the city, it has to be said, thought I'd talk to you about my travel plans again. Now, I'd like to return to Russia in summertime and explore some other part of the country, but one issue about me coming to Russia in future is that with my Serbian passport I have to fly directly to Russia. So I can't fly, for example, from Belgrade to Istanbul, then to Moscow. And hence the price of the flights have gone up considerably from Serbia to Russia, and I only get 30 days in the country. And so if you add up all the costs, like the flight costs and also PCR tests, then that month could be pretty expensive. So I'm hoping at some point this summer that things will normalize a bit more, especially if the Ukrainian and Russian border opens. Then I can just take a train between the two countries without much fuss. So something else I wanted to talk about is cost of living in Moscow, or in Russia for that matter. So I wanted to give you an idea of how much things cost. So walking around, I'll try and find some examples for you. There's one here. There's some kind of business lunch there for 490 rubles. So in British money, that's about £4.80 or something like that. Got some sushi there. It's easy to work out pounds with rubles because it's almost exactly the same. 470 would be approximately £4.70. And another kind of preconception people have about Russia is something gets really, really expensive here. And maybe about 10-15 years ago that was quite accurate. Moscow used to be the most expensive city in the world for a while. But at that point, oil prices were high, which resulted in high prices here. But in recent years, the ruble's gone down a lot, so it's become fairly affordable for tourists. So to give you an idea of the kind of money I've been spending here, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I like to spend about £20 per night on average, but to be honest, in Russia it's been more than that. And then meals, generally I like to eat in very simple places because I'm eating out for every meal. So I don't want to waste my money on fancy places. So for each meal, I'm spending something like 500 to 700 rubles. If you go to the buffet restaurants here, the stolovayas, it can be very, very affordable. You know, it's no nonsense. Stolovayas are no nonsense kind of places, buffet style, where you get in and you get out without much fuss. So what else? If you're going to a coffee shop, then okay, let's talk about Moscow. You're probably paying, for an Americano, you're probably paying in the region of 150 to 200 rubles. To go on the metro, I think haven't been on the metro in a while, but I think it's something like 70 pence. Come across a Porsche here that's seen better days. I've really got no idea where I am. I'm hoping I come across something interesting soon. And another church here. This one's a very beautiful one. Looks like we're coming into a more interesting area. Okay, let's go this way. Pedestrianised street. Must be interesting. I think when people hear that I'm speaking English here, they're quite surprised, because most Russians are under the impression that foreigners are not allowed into the country now. All right. Outside some metro station here, not sure which one. Some signposts over here. Let's see what it says. Oh, got some artwork there. An Eskimo with a pigeon on his head or something. Okay, nothing that interesting. Okay, so this metro is a Moskovsky Metropolitan Station, Tretyakovsky. A lot of tall buildings here, so the sun has disappeared. Another church.
Nós estamos felizes, que se